So the next pieces of material that I want to talk about are your small wooden pieces. Some had dinosaurs, some had flowers, some had butterflies. And you have the paint. Some people had paintbrushes and some people had sponges and clothespins. I kind of based it on age and ability, so I put in your bag what I kind of thought was appropriate for you. Before we paint this, though, I wanted to show you another way that we could use this. So this can also be used as a stencil. So stencils are a challenging task for kids. It's a really major two-handed activity. So when we put a stencil on our paper, we need to hold it down. And a lot of times I see kids that go right like this. So we start going around, our fingers get in the way, our hands get in the way, and then a lot of times I see kids that want to switch hands and finish it. So what I tell them is we have to have spider fingers when we stencil. So we want fingers extended and our arm up tall so I can trace around. It's okay for me to lift my pencil and go underneath my arm too to get all the way around that. So this would be a cool tool for them to create a bunch of their own little pictures. They could make all kinds of flowers or dinosaurs or their own stuff. But stencil work is definitely something that requires a lot of repositioning of our stabilizing arm and a lot of use of these fingers in order to be able to hold it. It is really a bilateral task that requires us to cross our midline. So it's really good to practice. I can get all the way around and I just lift that arm up so that I can get all the way through. We don't want to lift our hands off of it. Sometimes I'll see kids that will get stuck as their hand is down, and so they'll lift it and they'll just try ever so gently to go around, and then they're very frustrated when their picture doesn't come out the way that they want it to. So once, if you wanted to use it that way, then that's just some ways that we can use that stencil. But let's look at it how we can paint with that. So if you have a clothespin and a sponge, you're going to just keep that hooked right in. Pinch your fingers are going to hold at the end. So we're going to think about how hard we're squeezing because we don't want to open our clothespin and lose our sponge. We want to be able to gently hold, but we want to have a good grip. I'm just going to dip it into my paint. And then the object is to just tap on top, so we're not using a regular brush stroke. We want to stay in control and target that spot. It's a good time for kids to think about how much paint they need. They don't need a giant scoop of paint. I've poured mine out on a plate so that I can just tap it and keep going all the way around. My fingers are just going to hold, and as I get near that edge, I might have to move my fingers a little bit. And if I get paint on me, I always tell the kids, you're not going to melt. Some kids have a little defensiveness to getting dirty. It's always good to practice some tolerance for that. So just going to tap until we get it all the way covered. If you have little glitter or other little things that you can put on top, this is a time to do that. I sent paint home in the first packet as well. I tried to make sure they were different colors, so if you still had some left and you wanted to add a second color, that would be great too. This would be great to put a magnet on the back. You could use it on the refrigerator, or you could just kind of use it on a clothespin. But I really just wanted the kids to do a little bit of that tapping. For my older ones that I gave a paintbrush to, held it just like a pencil, and it's back and forth strokes, and we're thinking about how much paint we need on that brush and how hard we're going to push down. So this one was just kind of intended to be fun, and I hope that they do get a chance to use it as a stencil because that dual practice of this tool is really helpful, and they can create their own stories or other pictures with it. The dinosaurs would be great to maybe create a little scene and see if they could write a sentence about what their dinosaurs are doing, or even with their butterflies. So I hope you found this helpful.